3.5 back of the wild card, getting ready to take over London, the Phillies. Oh, listen, the energy is amazing, and I don't blame fans for getting excited and leaning into it. The problem is it doesn't mean anything because it's not real and it's not sustainable. So I ask you, though, as the Mets guy in this room, among many Met fans at the station, varying degrees of nuttiness and fandom, but specific to what I care about, my partner, where are you with this?
God, I'm going to be just blatantly honest with you. I'm torn because I want to root for the Mets to be good and to have a season. Like, I've never as a fan rooted to tank. I don't believe in any of that stuff. And while the Mets are torpedoing their season really since it got started, 0-5 and all that stuff, and 10 games under, 11 games under, and now, okay, yeah, great, they beat the Nationals 3 straight games. They did look very good yesterday in doing so, playing baseball well, defensively, running the bases, putting the bat on the ball, pitching. Some of the new guys, they made some good changes here, benching Jeff McNeil.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, so I like what I'm seeing. However, if I'm being honest with you and with myself, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. So I can't get excited. I want to push back on you. I don't like hearing you say, I feel bad for the Mets. I hate when you say that. And I know the reality is the Mets stink. I don't want to get caught up in the wild card race, 3.5 games. People, hey, yeah, there's 18 teams in front of them. Everybody's in the wild card race. There are 4 teams in the National League that are over 500. I mean, think about that, how pathetic that is with the records in the National League. So,
isn't that more reason to think maybe you could actually mess around and do something here?
Yes.
With so many teams, with so few teams above 500?
Yes.
This could be the year.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it could be the year.
The more you go like that, the more I'm going to turn. But
you don't like the tone, do you?
I got to be honest. Look, I want to come on here today and be excited about the Mets. I want to come on here and dream about the playoffs and dream about everything going well for this Mets team. I just don't believe it. And it's a weird spot as a fan, BT, because if you are using logic, you don't, not that you don't want to see the Mets have success, but you know that this is all not real. The same thing is going to continue to happen next year if it's about this core group. And I'm concerned with the core group having success and they may be fooling the Mets. They're not fooling me anymore. I've drawn my line in the sand. We had this conversation with Daniel Jones, 1 year good, 1 year bad, 1 year good, up and down until I finally said, I can't believe in him anymore. I'm sorry. Well, that's where I'm at with this Mets group. It was nice to see some baseball being played the way that it should be from Met players, but ultimately I can't believe in his team.
Interesting. It's the right attitude. Honestly, no joke, no ribbon, no, needle. That's the right attitude because, we've seen this with so many teams where, you kind of regenerate and you thrust yourself back into the lowest level of the meaningful part of the conversation. And from a fan's perspective, I get it. You want to latch on to anything. I mean, the Mets have been, for the most part, so wretched this season with the bullpen implosions, with Lindor's nonsense again the first 2 months, with Pete going 0 for 5 and leaving guys on base when it matters way, way too often. The bullpen meltdowns, I mean, all the things, the circus rundowns, I mean, the beat downs. It's been awful. Yet here you are, 3 straight wins, Lindor's heating up. Now those people who agreed with, it's not about me, but agreed with my assertion, which was very early, that the Mets should not resign Alonso, those few who did agree with me are suddenly saying, oh, look at Pete.
Right.
Yeah, now I'm seeing the Pete defensive gem tweets. Give me a break.
Right. Well, he played a great game defensively yesterday, which is nice to see. But you're right. Now everybody's going to start. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month, the last month, everybody's saying, break up the core, break up the core. They win 3 in a row, and now it's, the Mets can make the playoffs. That's why I'm trying to remain level-headed here. But it does ignore, if you remain level-headed here, then you're ignoring the fact of you want to get excited and root for your team. I got to be level-headed and not get sucked back in and be wish-washy or go with the wind here. Hey, Mets are playing bad, break everybody up. Mets are going, well, look at what Lindor could be, look at what Alonso could be, and then you double down on saying that they're, a potentially playoff team. I don't see it. I just don't see it with this group. I like some things about this team, mainly the manager, mainly the urgency that they have with getting rid of some guys who are not performing. There's a lot there. But ultimately, BT, I'd be lying to you if I said I believe in this team. And it's not that I'm not rooting for them.
I understand. It's a difference. I respect that.
Like, come on. You look at the wild card.
Difference.
Like, yeah, okay, 3.5 games back of the wild card. I don't need to look at the standings. I watch the team. And even yesterday, like, okay, they're fine. The bullpen.
It's the Nationals. Dude, Corbin's the worst starter in baseball.
The bullpen stinks. I can't. And it's the same thing. Like, why are the Mets playing better right now? Okay, well, Iglesias, Torrens, these guys have been impactful, which is nice. Is that sustainable? I would doubt it, but who knows? And then Lindor looks lively finally over the last couple of weeks. Oh, yeah, it's the leadoff spot. No, it's not the leadoff spot. It's that the pressure is off. The games don't mean anything. This is what he does. They're already out of it. So it's the same stuff for me. I want to believe in this team. I want to root for this team. I want to have a season. I want to have a season.
Some might say that you do all of a sudden. Some might say that you do.
Right. So it would be easy for me to come on here and be like, yeah, hey, we're back, BT. We're going to make the playoffs.
Then do it. Lean into it.
I just don't believe it. At my core, which is not rotten, I don't believe it.
888-808-1019. BT and Sal here on the show. We'll get to these calls in a sec. I mean, a couple of wins are galvanizing. You know what I feel. You heard Sal. I got to pull Hoff in for a sec. Hoff, you're different than this guy. I see your tweets pushing back on the Alonso hate. I get it. You fight the good fight. And I do respect that. I think it's part delusion, but I do respect it.
Oh, thank you.
Like me with the Jets, part delusion. I get it. Right. I respect that. You're a fan,
never said the Mets are unkillable. I know they'll get killed eventually.
Where are you in relation to where he is?
I want to punch Sal in the face.
Come on, shut up, dude.
Now, how is that the case? How are you going to defend this team? I
can defend a lot. First of all, we're sitting here talking about the Nationals, who have a better record, by the way, than the Mets. And look how bad they are.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're bad.
You're making Sal's
you
point,
making
by
my
the way.
point?
The Mets aren't this bad. They've played terrible. You guys want to talk about Lindor and Alonso hitting in meaningless games. We got 4 months left of the season, 2 months to the trade deadline. This is the time to hit. This is the time. Hey, Pete Alonso's got a contract coming up. It is important, okay? Does Brendan Nimmo want to stay on this team? He needs to start hitting. Does Vientos want playing time? He needs to keep this pace up. Does JD Martinez want to get traded to a contender? He needs to perform. So all of this means something, and in the end, it's going to work for the Met fans because 2 reasons. A, they're going to get back in the fold. I've always said this is a 500 team. I've never been delusioned to think the Mets are winning anything this year.
Right.
I've always said they could sneak into a playoff spot. And guess what? The National League sucks.
Yeah.
So they can do that. And that is a good thing because that means going forward, if they can if they can rebound off of this, it is a better light for other players going into next year who would like to maybe come to the New York Mets.
Yeah, look, there's 7 teams in front of them. I respect the positivity.
I do too.
And I'm, like I said, BT, I'm legitimately torn about it, but I have to tell you how I'd really feel.
Sure.
Fanboy, I'd be blind and saying, oh, yeah, the Mets could do this. Realistically, like logically, adult Sal is telling you this team is no good. I don't believe in them. And the worst thing that could happen is they continue to have success and they believe that they should be buyers instead of sellers. They aren't any good. There are 7 teams in front of them. Think about that. And yet you're going to start talking playoffs?
Did they expand the wild cards maybe? Is there 6 wild cards now?
I mean, even if they are, come on. They still wouldn't make it. I watch this team every single night. I cannot believe that this team is any good.
Let me ask you one thing, okay? Because I know that you guys are both on the trade Pete Alonso thing, okay? Fine. Adult Pete Hoffman is speaking here, okay?
Yeah.
He's looking
we don't know adult Pete Hoffman.
It's on.
Let's introduce
Nice to meet
ourselves
you.
here, buddy. How are you, sir?
I'm not thinking that Pete Alonso is the piece to build around. I'm not stupid enough to think that.
Okay.
But you're telling me right now, if, say, a star player who's playing in pinstripes this year comes to the Mets, you're telling me that Pete Alonso's not an asset to be around Juan Soto?
Now, this is interesting. I am so happy that you said this. This, to me, is really one of the most meaningful parts of the conversation. What did I say over the winter, aside from Soto's never leaving, and we'll see if I'm right, whatever.
Right.
I said from day one, the optics of the Mets, what's going on in Queens, is going to matter to Soto. Now, I don't think the Mets are good. I don't think Lindor's it, even though he's played very well, and I do give it up. I certainly wouldn't build around Pete. At the end of the day, I don't know about Vientos. I appreciate his resilience, but I don't really know. I don't even really truly know about Francisco Alvarez yet. But if this is just the high point, a little regeneration, beat the Nats for 3, go to London, get mauled by the aggregate score of 27-5, and get back to being a doormat, then why in the world, as they start selling pieces off, which Stearns would smartly and should smartly do, outside of the money, because I know your first answer, why would Juan Soto want to join that? So when Hoff says that, I get it, because I've been saying that for months.
Yeah, I just don't care about the optics of it.
You should.
I don't think so. There's nothing the Mets could do to be optically more appealing than any other team, specifically the New York Yankees, for Soto. So I don't think that winning is going to have an impact on that. It's got to be about money. That's the bottom line. And to me, that is a different conversation. If you're a fan right now, are you getting excited about the Mets season and the possibility that the season could be back on because they're 3.5 games back of the wild card because they swept the Nationals, and you're starting to see some signs? Lindor much better, Alonso looking lively, McNeil's ass is on the bench and they're better off for it. Alvarez on the horizon, a return from him. Who knows what Kodai Senga, maybe he's going to decide he wants to join the team and pitch. Maybe you get him back in
Diaz
there.
coming back soon.
Diaz
I saw that.
potentially coming back. I mean, you can start to paint the picture that this team, Marte's looked a little bit better here, that maybe they're starting to come into their sweet spot here and can be a 500 team and compete for a wild card. Me personally, I don't see it.
888-808-1019, BT and Sal on the Fan. Brandon's here. Sal Licata show inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends of Town Fair remind you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. All right, first up, Chris in Manhattan with BT and Sal. What's happening, Chris?
Hey, guys. Good morning. So I'm going to play it a little down the middle, not because I'm trying to be down the middle, but here's how I feel, Sal. The Mets are on a day-by-day basis. They're like on probation with me, right? I'm going to try to enjoy this. Clearly, I want to see better baseball. I'm not going to be delusional, but I also feel like as a fan, I have a right to try to enjoy every moment I can.
Right.
That's my take on it, And
I think that makes sense. My problem, Chris, is that if I truly don't believe in the team, then while you can enjoy each individual night, I also fear that they're going to do the wrong thing because the team might have some success, which I ultimately don't believe in.
Sal, I know what you're saying. Like, we don't want any kind of like, we're gonna add to the team, and they didn't really have a shot. But I got to tell you, that's where the trust in Stearns. We're gonna either have to trust him or not.
I don't trust the owner.
What?
In that regard, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't.
You think he's like embarrassed to the play? He's gonna want to try to win the fans back and do something.
I think the owner.
Thanks for the call, Chris.
Now we didn't talk playoffs with this team.
No,
they did, and the owner has said playoffs repeatedly before the season, in season, even when things are going wrong. And I get the feeling, now again, I don't know this, I just get the feeling because you're starting to hear fans talk about playoffs and get excited about it. They're not looking at the 17 teams in front of the Mets. They're looking at the 3.5 games back and the fact that the Mets actually won a couple of ball games. Like, my God. Hey, if it's that easy, then what took you so long? It's June. Hey, you won 3 games. I mean, geez.
You hadn't played the Nationals in a while. You had to play them.
Good God. But I think that the owner wants to prove himself to be correct.
Yeah.
And wants to make the playoffs. I believe that that's the case.
That's dangerous, man.
It's also been reported.
Yeah.
Andy Martino has written about that multiple times. Like, the Mets would prefer. They've said it. Everybody has said it. So this is not just me assuming, but some of us think like, Cohen was not being truthful. He's just throwing it out there. I think if there's any chance, he's going to triple down, quadruple down, and try to make this a playoff team. And I think that could be a major mistake.
888-808-1019, BT and Sal. Ray's up in Waterbury, Connecticut on the Fan. What's going on, Ray?
Hi, guys. Great show as usual.
Thanks, buddy.
Here's what I think, guys. You got Sal. You got to take the good and the bad from Stevie, Uncle Stevie. You want him to spend the money on Soto? He wants to win. He wants to win this year too.
Right.
Sal, you know what I mean? The bottom line is they don't want you. I saw your show last night. Martino says they do not want to sell.
Right.
Bottom line is make the playoffs this year. Next year, go for the World Series. That's why I said I don't expect them to go far. Make the playoffs. That's a good season for them, Sal.
Yeah, but if I came on, and thank you for the call, Ray, as always.
Thanks, Ray.
BT, we talked about this earlier in the week or last week. I forget now. It's all jumbled together here. But we talked about, in my mind, 2022, the success of 2022 was probably the worst thing that could happen to this team because after that, they then first of all, they believed in the core. McNeil got a contract, Lindor, Diaz, Nimmo, or I forget when McNeil's was exactly, but you get the point. Like, they doubled down on this core.
I think it was right after that. Yeah, last year was the first year of the 4-year deal, I'm pretty sure.
So Diaz, McNeil, Nimmo coming back, and the core turned out to be not good. It's the problem. It's not just the failures of the end of 2022, all of last year, and then the beginning of this year. So why would I think that that's going to change? And now, if they believed in 2022 if they thought that that was legit, which they clearly did, now they're starting to see them maybe have a little success. Let's just say they, go on a hot streak here and get themselves, closer to 500 or to 500, they're going to believe that they were right for believing in this team in the first place. And I just will not. I will not believe in this team no matter what anymore. I don't believe in the core. I don't think they're any good.
No, they're not. They're not. But the temptation to be relevant, I get it. I get it from Cohen. I don't agree with it, but I can comprehend it. It's a dangerous game. It could worsen things amazingly. But I get it fully from the fans' perspective. I get that.
I know. It's because I want them to be good. I want to have excitement here. Not that the Mets would be on any kind of competitive level with the Yankees, who are just playing on another planet right now. But still, it would be fun going through the summer, watching good baseball being played in both parts of this city with the Mets and the Yankees. I just don't believe it's sustainable. I don't believe they're good. I love the manager. I like the president of baseball operations. I thought that they were off by talking about postseason to begin with. I'm just not buying it.
Listen, here's the bottom line for me. I don't believe this is real. You guys know that by now. But the longer, and this is the irony, the longer this goes on, winning some games and kicking this down the road in terms of maybe what they really should do, the longer that goes on, the more gratifying it is for the fans. But in my opinion, the more dangerous it becomes down the road because it's fool's gold.
Right.
This ain't the team. It's not.
Diaz coming back. Bullpen has been a big issue.
True.
Diaz comes back.
He can make it worse.
Close out some of those games. Or
he can make it better.
Starts closing out some of those games that they were.
We starting to turn a little bit here.
I'm just saying. Senga ever decides he wants to get out there and pitch.
Now you see the dilemma that I think a lot of Met fans are dealing with, understandably. 888-808-1019, BT and Sal. All right, Met fans, how real is this little mini surge? And maybe more directly, what should ownership do about this moving forward?